Here, here. Thank you. Thank you, sister.
Correct. Correct.
All right, so
Correct.
let's go into it. I'll split it up into three parts. So I'm going to read for a minute or so.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want, I know you're the notes maniac, so you can make notes if you want, or just memorize. And then I'll pause after reading for a little so we can break it down. All right. This act may be cited as the quote countering malign Russian activities in Africa Act. All right. Actually, I was going to read a little more, but let's pause
Yes.
because the title alone is so. I don't know. I'll leave the words for you. Let's
I
go to
had-
you first.
I
Okay.
had to. Okay, Adesoji, go ahead.
Okay. So again, I had to have my trusted ready when I was doing that.
Did you need
So-
to look up Malign?
So it's countering malign. Well,
Think about it.
malign, when I checked the dictionary, said harmful, adverse, and shameful. Like, okay,
Yes.
shameful Russian activities. Okay. So I then said, okay, I wonder what those activities are. But, continue with the reading.
Okay. Thank you. Your sister, did you want to add?
Yes,
That's it.
when I saw that, I asked myself, because for me, I go through the process. Why is this happening? I said to myself, what are the malign Russian activities, like Brother Adesoji said, and does the US have malign activities in Africa?
Thank you. Or you could say, which U.S. activities in Africa are not malign?
Which US activities in Africa are not malign?
Okay.
Do not bring harm, like Adesoji described malign, right? Do not bring harm to Africa. Do not bring shame to Africa. We're talking about Western media. Western media is all about bringing shame to Africa.
Right. And this is coming, by the way, from the country that led the destruction of an African country.
Multiple African
Libya.
countries. Yes.
Libya led to the
Good example.
destruction, led to the execution of a president, sodomized with a bayonet,
Yes. Yep.
and they're talking about malign. Okay, so let's go into this. Let's see what this whole malign business is. It is the sense of Congress that the United States, one, should regularly assess the scale and scope of the Russian Federation's influence and activities in Africa that undermine United States objectives and interest. I hope we're making notes.
Yes.
And
yep.
two, determine how, A, to address and counter such influence and activities effectively. This is dangerous stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Including through appropriate United States foreign assistance programs. Wow. So we're talking taking food off the table, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And B, to hold accountable the Russian Federation and African governments and their officials who are complicit in aiding such malign influence and activities.
Mm-hmm.
So are they going to give a list to every African official so that before they engage in Russia, they say, wait, this is on the malign list. This is not on the malign list.
Check.
Check. But I'll come back to you guys. This is just my interruption. Let me continue for a little bit. 3, strategy and implementation plan report.
Mm-hmm.
A, strategy and implementation plan. No later than 90 days after the date of this enactment of this act, the Secretary of State shall develop and submit to the appropriate congressional committees a strategy and implementation plan. We need to get a copy of that.
Yes.
Outlining United States efforts to counter the malign influence and activities of the Russian Federation and its proxies.
Yeah.
Guys, make sure you're not proxies.
Yeah.
In Africa, including programs and other initiatives designed to, one, strengthen democratic institutions, improve government transparency and accountability, improve standards related to human rights, labor, anti-corruption initiatives, fiscal transparency, monitor natural resources.
Imagine that.
And extractive industries and other tenets of good governance. Just a little bit, and then let's break what we've had so far. Let me just finish this section. 2, monitor and report on Russian political influence and disinformation operations and the activities of Russia-connected or Russian-funded private military contractors in Africa. Oh, this is where I know the brother is like boiling together.
There's a lot to chew. Yes, Adesoji, you go ahead. There's a lot to break down.
Let's break down what we've heard so far to this point.
Okay, so for me, I will start with that section 1: strengthen democratic institutions. Okay, there's a Yoruba saying which goes like this. It says, which is, if you're going to give me clothes, I first of all have to look at your apparel to see whether it is you can actually provide what it is you say you can provide. So in this space, you're talking about the hypocrisy of the entire question. To strengthen democratic institutions. In the United States, there is a Mr. Lewis bill waiting to be signed to guarantee voters' rights for everyone in the United States.
So you're saying charity begins at home.
There you go.
Representative Lewis is long left.
So what has become of that bill? That is one aspect.
I like that. Practice what you preach.
Yes.
There you go. So improve government transparency and accountability. In the last, in 2022, recorded police deaths was about 1,933. Of that, only 5% came with indictments, and only 3% ended up in conviction. Talk about transparency and accountability. Improving standards related to human rights.
Listen,
the last couple of years, we had kids being put in cages.
I think we need some African drums right here, just to take a pause.
We had
sister, you say it like a joke, but I'm saying
take a pause.
Going forward, from next week, if I can have a drum somewhere.
We'll get a drum. We will get a drum. We will get a drum.
Yeah.
So we had,
but that's how shows, keep adapting. I like that idea a lot. You're gonna bring the drum, but go ahead.
So we had kids being put in cages, kids lost in the system,
wrested away from their
parent. Exactly.
Human rights violations. Keep talking, brother.
For the mere idea that it's part of the notion of the United States that, give us your ill, your sick, and we shall embrace them.
Don't forget our Haitian brothers and sisters at the border.
There you go.
I mean, and horses.
There's so many to go.
Brother is killing it, but let's go to sister.
So
brother, we're gonna have to go to sister. You know why? Because there's a lot more in this bill. We've only dealt with 10% so far, and I want us to cover the entire bill. But make a note, if anything,
since he's mid-sentence and I did interrupt him, I'm okay with him finishing and then I'll come in.
Oh, we won't finish the thing though.
All right.
No. I just want to finish that.
Okay.
So it says, with regards to anti-corruption initiatives.
See, I told you.
There was a sitting president who was earning money from the same state and he governs. While he was in power, whatever came of those anti-corruption initiatives?
Nothing. He is still capable of running.
I can still go on, but I will